to China,
Uh-huh.
there's a diversity in most countries now. There's a growing diversity everywhere, but they are Chinese first. If that makes sense, no matter you may be Jewish and your family might have decided to do whatever, but you are still Chinese first. And that was the problem. You might be Xhosa, you might be Zulu, you might be Afrikaans, whatever. But nobody said this is what it means to be a South African, and you all should be South African first.
That's
from a very political view, and especially coming from Zimbabwe, where I saw transformation firsthand. As radical as it was, like I saw transformation.
Is that why you're voting dear?
The thing is, like one thing that we were taught was to embrace the fact that you're African. That was one thing that we had to first consider. Secondly, being African entails that you own your own land. In all honesty.
Yeah.
So the fact that as an African I have nothing to hold and say I'm entitled to, like here in South Africa, yes, there was a liberation, yes, democracy is here, and yes, black people have been integrated into
assimilated.
Yes. Okay. So now, let's just say they sold a dream and everyone else bought it. Because here in South Africa, we have a situation whereby everyone's just content with what they have now, without knowing that before we achieved this democracy, there was actually more to it. Democracy meant that black people now could run the country. Besides that, black people could now own land and all that stuff. But then all of that has been completely disregarded because our education system doesn't actually give us the platform to say, okay, this is what's supposed to happen. And also at the end of the day, we also have to go back to what happened after or post 1994. Like what exactly was agreed upon? Where exactly are we going? Because I know in Zimbabwe, the agreement was that after 10 years, you will be compensated and the land should be given back. After 10 years, that was never done. And that's why people went in and said, we want our land back. Same thing should happen here in South Africa, whereby people stand up and say, yo, what did you guys actually decide on? Because you have a disadvantaged majority black people. I mean, white people are also Africans. There's white people that were born here in Africa, born and raised. Yes. So we also have to take that into consideration. So at the end of the day, it's what did they actually decide on and when are black people actually going to get what they're entitled to? That's where the problem lies, and that's why we have all these issues coming up, because they were never addressed in 1994.
Because I feel like right now, it's all rejection. I'm going to reject colonialism right now. I'm going to reject this, I'm going to reject that. There's no kind of hybridization. Because we have to acknowledge that we are a hybridization. We can't hate all the white people. There are lots of white Africans here.
You're like Johnny Clegg.
Exactly, so we can't say, oh, we hate the West and all that stuff when we exist in a country that depends on it in terms of a global context, which is
the issue is the failure of Africans to embrace being African. That is the only problem, because when we go out there, we don't want to give off this impression that, oh my god, I'm so westernized, look at how I dress, etc., etc. Like, it all starts there. Even with our African leaders, when they go out there, Europe or America, they're told, listen, you do this, you do that, because of what capitalism has done. But then their failure to actually stand up and say, these are our African values, this is what Africa stands for. It all starts with the leaders. And then us here as like the ordinary people, they're just like, okay, well, anyway, we're just going to embrace.
In theory, we would be leaders. I mean, you're like very the minority that receive education are the leaders in South Africa.
Yeah. That's actually very true.
But maybe it goes back to that issue again of what is it like to be African.
What does it mean to be African? Like half of us don't even know. Like,
I mean,
what does it mean to be African?
Well, to come from, on a personal experience, I come from a very sheltered experience. Private school in Cape Town. Cape Town alone is its own artificial pocket of bullshitty society.
Yeah.
And I mean, how am I meant to know what it means to be African? I don't know.
I think it's
I mean, I don't even think I saw.
Exactly. I don't even know.
And I think
like, what
it's in talking about what it means to be African
that we can now deal with these issues.
So the problem is that you can't do that at Rhodes, for example.
Yeah.
In your lecture hall, when you start talking about economics, you're doing it from a European context.
But you're
not doing it in an African any subject, obviously, any subject. But what I'm saying is that you need to open that channel so that people can start talking about it.
Also acknowledge the fact that the African narrative has been diversified. I think a lot of people won't speak about being black because socially they don't feel black enough. What is that? So it's like,
that's what I'm saying.
what
That
everybody think African is? And
Do you know it's quite a good articulation of that issue of not being black enough is the coloured frenzy in Cape Town at the moment. They've become like DA super fans all of a sudden, and that's because of their dejection over the years. They weren't white enough in the beginning. Now they're not black enough. So now they're in their frenzy. They're going like DA mad.
Because they don't really have.
Because they have no. Yeah, exactly. They have no identity.
That's the same thing that applies to us as black
I don't know.
people.
I think we're making assumptions. I think I mean, if you ask a colored person, you know, like they could probably splash what it means to be colored.
I hear what Adam is saying though. The identity of coloreds, especially in that area.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a specific example. I'm saying
it was quite a
range. Okay.
Being African for me, I won't go in. I don't know much about tradition. I didn't grow up with that kind of setting. But looking at the African leaders that we had in the 60s, 70s, 80s, being African, I think, entails that we stand up for we stand up for everything that those that fought for liberation stood for. By that I mean we need to stand up for the fact that the land is ours, it needs to be given back. You know, that's for starters. Second thing is
taken back.
Okay.
No one's going to give you back. No one is going to give you land. You should take your land back.
We should stop hiding behind equality. We should stop hiding behind that and actually address the inequalities that society faces. We need to create equal opportunities. By that I mean that, you know, as a black student after university, I'm not as privileged as another white African who probably has a trust fund waiting for him. Or their parents own a big company, he's obviously got a job set for him, but then we also need to look at those disadvantaged students. And what it means to be African for me means that, you know, we set the bar. Like like all the resources, and like there's a need for us to actually realize that and become African enough to say no, we're going to take the lead and not be led.
Oh shit.
So maybe to be a white African male in today's day and age is to tell your auntie who keeps telling you to move to Australia to fuck off. That's a start.
Big up to that.
Well, I think that, you know, coming from the Eastern Cape, you know, to be an African, you know, is to, you know, be a very, you know, conscious person in terms of, you know, the dignity, you know, that your tradition affords you, you know, that you recognize as a person, you know, as an African, you know, as a Xhosa man, as a Zulu man, as a Swati man, or whatever you are. That's what it is, you know. I mean, it's a matter of dignity, you know, being African.
Cognizant of it and celebrating it, because I think we need to understand that, you know that famous Descartes, you know, quote that I think therefore I am. In Africa,
Cogito ergo sum.
You know, in Africa that doesn't manifest itself really, because a huge part of what it means to be in Africa resides in dance, in song, in, you know, in word, you know, the spoken word, you know. So I mean, art is a huge part of what it means to be an African, you know. I mean, it's that just a celebration of that. I think in that process.